everyone. As always, my name is OCRTransparency, and today is more of a more serious discussion. So, as you realize by now, I am no longer a member of OCRP. I was removed from the community about 10:30 a.m. March 8th, 2025. Woke up to a message informing me that I was removed from the community, and that's it. And you will see the message that was left for me right here. As you can see right here, the reasons for my removal are far from the truth and not at all who I am. And anyone who knows me personally and has interacted with me before would be able to vouch for that. I am extremely far from the racist, homophobic person that they listed me here as, and I am one of the last people on the face of the earth that would ever incite violence against anyone. Some of my favorite people in OCRP were gay and transgender. 809, 8 of 9, who identified as they, them. They were a really fun person to interact with. And Viewy Gaming, who is a gay man, and I had absolutely no problem with it. In fact, if you talked to him, you would hear to be like, hey, Alpha Gintari actually encouraged a relationship and was like, yeah, go for it, dude. So I don't understand where that is coming from. You could ask anyone. I'd always be the first one to be there for someone and just give them someone to vent to and talk to them about the issues they were having. So for them to say that I'm this and that and not even give me a chance to defend myself, I believe it goes against everything they say they stand for. They say they stand for transparency, which is what they talked big about in their community meetings. They'd be like, we'll be big on transparency, we will give people warnings or suspension. That was in their most recent community meeting. Like, we'll start suspending people and not just immediately banning them. I don't see where that's true either, because very little transparency was given to me, and I was never suspended. It was just I woke up one night and I'm gone. Here's a few things I don't tell you about OCRP is one, generally around the top dogs of the server, like the admins or some of the bigger non-admin YouTubers. Not all of them, I'm not naming any names. Generally they only like to play within that close-knit group. And they do talk with each other behind closed doors in private servers. I don't know what's said behind those doors. I can't speak for that, but that's one of the things that goes on. And sometimes you can get lucky and interact with them on the main server if it's not a recording server where you generally know you're going to run into them and have some sort of interaction. Now sometimes you might get lucky, they'll interact with you for a minute. Or as you saw in one of my streams, I was able to get a 3-4 minute questioning with Bugs when he was out as Boat Boy by the PCSO office out in the snow. I was asked by that Tokai 1, aka 904, to go up and ask him about an incident that happened. I went over and that's what happened. And the second thing is during the community meetings they'd like to talk about, other than the transparency, is that in the history of OCRP we have only banned a handful of players, and during my time in OCRP, that doesn't feel like it. Like, if they truly only banned this many amount of players, that number doubled during my time on OCRP. There was quite a few people I had fun interacting with that I see go. Like, there would be a day that I RP with someone, have a good fun, and I wake up the next day and they're gone. I personally have seen 6 or 7 people go out the door before I left. And who knows how many there are that I don't know about, or who else is going to get removed before the next batch of applications are sent in whenever they decide to do that again. Am I perfect? No, I'll always be the first to admit that. I'll always be the first to admit I have flaws. I do things I wish I could take back. And literally anyone. I'm a very apologetic person, and I would apologize to the person for even what felt like the slightest upset. So, in my personal opinion, how I was removed from OCRP goes against everything that the admins preach about in the community meetings and they tell you in community posts. Now, is that to say that everyone who got banned didn't deserve it? No, of course not. But I'm far from this person right here. Like, that's not me, and that goes against everything that makes me me. Past that, the most recent incident with me regarding how I handled my live chat out. I admitted there that I wasn't handled the best, that my too friendly, give everyone a hug attitude came back to bite me, and as you can see here, I immediately handled it. Everyone's mod was removed, and I was trying to remedy the situation that night. But fortunately, my efforts to try and fix the mess that I had accidentally created fell on deaf ears, and fortunately, there's not a thing I can do about it now. I made plenty of friends on OCRP and had lots of fun time with them. Drew, Derailed Gaming, who was really fun to interact with and chat with, whether it was Frank with Frank's Chili, or Officer Fleetwood, or his lying scammer guy, Eddie Malenko, or it was Medic, who is honestly the guy I looked up to when it came to basing how I was as LEO on OCRP. Viewy Gaming, who I had lots of fun interactions with, whether it was Chandler, as you see in one past LEO stream, 2 past LEO streams actually, and many Frank's Chili times. I even brought James Arbuckle along, and it was fun interacting with him, whether it was the one time with Eddie Malenko or Frank's Chili. And he is honestly one of my favorite OCRP members. I never pent up any anger. I was never hostile to anyone out of RP, because, in RP, you play being angry, that's something that happens. But outside of RP, like I said, that message from the admins couldn't be farther from the truth. Like, I'm always, people are respectful of me, I'm respectful of them. And it's a two-way street. I do whatever I can to avoid, like I said, out of RP confrontation. I stood by it when I made my application, and I stand by it now. Nothing I have ever said on OCRP or in a chat was ever anything like that. And in the case of my removal, there's no chance of explaining yourself. There's no like, hey, this isn't what was said. I never said that. No, you don't get that chance. It's just, this is how it is, deal with it, and you're gone. All my viewers or anyone who may have seen something on my streams that may have upset them in any way, I do apologize. And if I had known about any of these issues sooner, I would have fixed it, as I was trying to do before I got removed from the community. And you can ask anyone on there when they pointed out an issue, I immediately went to work trying to fix it, whether it was my audio issue. I spent a lot of my own money to try and fix that issue, just so there wasn't any more problems with it. If I did something to upset someone on the server with how I was roleplaying, I would immediately be up there to apologize and be like, hey, I'm sorry if this upset you. Whether it did upset them or I just feel like it did, I was always immediately there and be like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm racist, I'm homophobic, and I incite violence against marginalized groups. Couldn't be farther from the truth if they tried. So for them to call me racist, homophobic, inciting violence against marginalized groups, that couldn't be farther from the truth. And anyone that knows me, whether on Discord, especially personally, could be like, that is not Alpha, that is not Brandon, that is not who this guy is. He is the least hateful person that I know. Like, he would always be the first to defend someone against someone who was being hateful towards them. He'd always be the first to help someone out if they needed help. He'd always be the first to give them the metaphorical shoulder to cry on. And such is the chance I've had a few members of OCRP who I'm still friends with, or that in a mutual server with, they messaged me be like, hey, what's going on? And I told them the news and they didn't believe it. They were like, wait, what? I don't, like, that can't be true. You're none of those things. So it's lack of transparency. You don't get to explain yourself when they accuse you of heavy stuff like this. I believe is a very poor way of handling things, and they need to learn a lot from this. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to attack anyone on OCRP. Like I said, I would be the last person to encourage any actions like that, and I stand by that now, whether I agree with my removal or not. I personally disagree with it, but at the end of the day, it's their server, they handle it how they want. Then there's Christina, who is one of my favorite people on the server. Loved her, loved our interactions before I started content creation for OCRP, when I was just starting out as a firefighter. And you can see that during Civ Ryan's video of where he got tied to a billboard for 3 days. That was my first time interacting with Civ Ryan, and my first shift as SAFR on the server, and my first interaction with Christina. I've loved every interaction we've ever had, and the fact that they're trans, that didn't change how I thought of them. I still love them just as much and loved being around them. I don't want to harbor any negative feelings, as much negative feelings as I have right now, given what happened earlier this week, personal issue. But to all my watchers, my subscribers, people who come around to watch my content, and OCRP members who reached out to me to ask me what happened and to say their farewells instead of just unfriending me and pretending I never existed. It does mean a lot to me, and thank you to you all and everyone I met along the way. It truly does mean a lot, and it's been quite an incredible ride. Whether we'll meet up again outside of OCRP or not, I don't know, but if we do, I look forward to that day, and I'd be very grateful to see you all again and have fun again. So, good night, everyone. I appreciate you for sticking around to watch this video, and I'm sorry that this had to happen. That you will no longer see OCRP content on this channel. So, goodbye and good night, and whatever life throws my way, whatever plans I come up with, I will see you next time.